All right, before we head out on our biggest and longest RV trip yet, there's one thing I don't want to leave to chance. A trip like this is going to cover thousands of miles, and once we're on the road, small little problems can turn into big ones. So today, I'm taking you with me as I prep our truck and the fifth wheel before we leave. Some of these are routine, some we've learned the hard way. If you're getting ready for a long RV trip, these are the things I'd make sure are done before you pull out of the driveway. So before we get ready to go, you guys, I'm preparing our trailer for our trip, and I just want to kind of explain to you some of the items, some of the things I've done to prepare for our journey to the Northeast. So we do plan on bringing my e-bike and our scooter, and I utilize the Hollywood bike rack. This is specifically for, a fifth wheel setup. It's really stable, and it's got locks on it, so I'm really happy how this thing works, and the bikes are fairly easy to load on. So I always make sure that everything's tight, ready to go. The pins are all set, and all I have to do is load up and lock it up. Another thing that we do before this trip is I go ahead and load up the tank with about 20 gallons, because for our first couple of days we're going to be in Harvest Host, so we're not going to have water hookup, so we need water for flushing and maybe a shower, who knows. So another thing I have to be prepared to do is make sure that both my 30-pound propane tanks are full. I'm also bringing along a 20-pound extra tank. The reason being is because we are going to be using our generator, which it's a dual fuel, and I use propane for it. I have a feeling we're going to be using the generator a lot, and when you're using the propane, I'm not too sure exactly how long I can run a generator on a 20-pound tank before having to fill it up. So another thing that we have to do is just make sure I have all the right gear in there, tools, cleaning supplies, all the things that we normally take. Just a little history or a backstory. We did get our bolts taken care of on our suspension. We got the door fixed. If you guys are new to the channel, you probably didn't know about that. We had that replaced. But we also had a 12-volt problem. We think that's solved. So hopefully when we do go, especially for the first couple of days at a Harvest Host, it's not going to be an issue, because believe you me, we're going to be needing our 12-volt system. So besides the generator and our house batteries, we do have this Jackery 3000 power station. So it's kind of like a backup to the backup. And I probably will be using it, quite a bit, especially if we're at the Harvest Host, just for a little bit. Maybe I don't have to pull out the generator. I can just go ahead and plug it in this thing. So now that we got, our rig ready to go, now I want to talk to you about the truck that I used to pull it. I have a 2025 350 6.7 high output Power Stroke. Try not to mind how dirty it is, because it kind of rained and everything, but usually it's cleaner than this. But this truck, it's a long bed. It is the King Ranch edition. And for us to pull that rig, it's actually, plenty of power. It's rated at 500 horsepower, 1,200 pounds of torque. Going uphill, pulling, usually no problem. I'm cruising around 62, 63 miles an hour going down the highway. Right now averaging 10.7 miles per gallon pulling our trailer. Now, I've had Super Duties since 1999, so they're not new to me. This particular truck, even though it's a high output motor, I don't really notice any difference as far as depth usage. I think, if you're hauling heavy weight for going against a headwind, or you're just romping on that throttle, yeah, you're going to use the DEF, but I don't notice any difference in DEF usage compared to my other rigs that I've had. So with this truck and all my other truck, there is a certain amount of maintenance that goes on, and that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about today with this particular vehicle. Maintenance, safety features, and maybe some add-ons to help with our travel experience. I normally do my own maintenance on our vehicles. For instance, I'm getting ready to do an oil change. Now, I'm not really due for another 2,000 miles, but our trip is going to have us going roughly 8,000 miles. I don't want to have to do an oil change, you know, somewhere in Alabama or whatever. I'd rather just try to go ahead, change it now, and then when I get back, it should be good enough to where it's not going to be a problem to change it when I get home. A couple weeks ago, I already did the fuel filters, the air filters. I even did the cabin filter. I always try to use OEM products. That's just me. That's what I'm going to go ahead and start doing. I'm going to get everything ready and we can start the oil change, and then I can kind of go into what other safety features or towing accessories that we use as we go on our trip. Okay, you guys, so I'm gonna drain the oil. Now, what I use, and I've used this for 10 years, is this oil drain valve. It's a Fumoto that I use, and I like it because it gives me control of the oil flow. So the advantage to using one of these valve drain plugs is that you can control your flow of your oil draining. You can also put in like a 3/8 hose, and you can drain it directly into the a container that you want to recycle in. It's also kind of helpful too, if you want to just test your oil, you can just let a little out, get a sample, and take it in and have it tested. You just turn the valve and it drains. And if you want to stop, real simple. Just like that. Now, the drawback is that it drains a little bit slower than just having a regular drain plug. But while that's draining, then I do other maintenance items. So the Fumoto oil drain, that's one of my, I guess, aftermarket add-ons, you know, for this truck. Another thing that I put on here were a set of Timbrens to help with truck squat, pulling the trailer. It doesn't really squat that much, but this does help a little bit, but I know I am going down the road nice and even. I got those. I was thinking about getting airbags, but with the cost of the airbags compared to the Timbrens, these were just a bolt-on and they weren't all that expensive. So that was another, I guess, add-on that I did. And then other than that, I did replace my antenna. I think for me it's mandatory. The 50 cal used for the Ma Deuce. If you know, you know. So you guys, that's about it for any add-ons on the outside of the truck. It comes with plenty of power, plenty of accessories, but I do want to kind of show you when we're driving down the road, you know, our setup that we utilize. It helps us driving, towing our fifth wheel behind us. It gives us a little bit of extra, I know, eyeballs. It helps with safety. So I thought I'd go over a few of these items. The first thing I have, we do utilize the Furrion backup camera. I've had this now this is our third trailer, so it works pretty good. I do have the side markers so I can see left and right as well as back. I usually like to mainly use this to keep an eyeball on their bikes in the back, but it also helps with lane changes. You can kind of see who's behind me. Another thing that I do have a tire pressure monitor system. Now this is a Road Tech. This came with a trailer. We had a tire pressure monitor system. That worked great, but every once in a while, just out of the blue, it would start to beep for no reason. So I didn't know if it was a false alarm or not. What's kind of unique about this is the sensors are actually in the tires, and the batteries are supposed to last 5-6 years, and we'll find out. If not, then I know you can put on the sensors on the stems, but it's really simple. There's no, waiting for it. It connects really easy and it's easy to use. And then another thing, we do use a dash cam. We use that just for legal issues going down the road. What I do to have all this on here is I utilize the bullet point grill system, and it works really well. It fits in nice and tight. You can get all these different arms, different apertures, so you can put your your devices wherever you want. I don't like things hanging off my windshield because visual issues. This is actually my second truck that this system's been in, and it works really well. And along with all my other, systems like the heads-up display, the mirrors, the cameras, I think going down the road really makes it easier, a little peace of mind, and being comfortable, I think really counts. Once it's loose, just let it go. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but it's off. So make sure on these filters that the gasket is off, because if you try to put on the new filter with two gaskets, you will have a leak. Now, got my new filter. To put oil in or not to put oil in. You guys, I go ahead and pre-fill it. Not too much, maybe half of it. Oh, and by the way, I do use Rotello T6 full synthetic oil. So for me, I've been using it for, 15 years, and it's been stellar for my usage. So now I'm gonna get underneath here, screw this new filter in, and wait for the rest of the oil to drain, and then refill, and I should be done. The gasket was still on there. So you definitely want to make sure that that is off. I always try to clean up any spillage that's along the rails or any hoses and on the filter. Now, you don't want to crank it too tight. And that is set. Now I'll just wait for the rest of the oil to drain, and then we'll fill her back up. Okay, it's pretty much done draining. So I'll close off the valve, and it's got this little lock that you place in, so that makes sure that no way it's gonna come out. Okay. Okay, now I'll just take this over to the auto store and get it emptied. And I'm going to go ahead and refill the truck with oil. Okay, so I'll add 2 more gallons. I'll check the fluid, and then we should be good to go. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. One thing I do also is I do use a fuel additive. I use this everyday diesel treatment. I put it in every full tank of fuel. Keeps the injectors nice and clean. You can see I don't use that many modifications. Maintenance, I try to do the easiest maintenance that I can possibly do without having to take it to the shop. Saves money too. But whether you have a GMC, Dodge, a Ford, or even if you have a Nissan with a diesel engine, maintenance on these vehicles are very important, especially if you're going to be hauling your house behind you. So if there's something I skipped, or if there's some other advice, let me know in the comments. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you like it. Subscribe, and until we get ready to go, we'll see you on the trip out.